All right, let's start with the rule 1, 3, and 4 test. Question number 1. A second and 8 at the A30. As A16 is calling signals, obviously he's the quarterback, the umpire notices that A16 does not have a mouthpiece and stops the clock. Team A can call a timeout to allow A16 to get a mouthpiece. So this particular question is very specific. Can Team A buy A16 back onto the field by calling a timeout? And if we look at the rule, it's a long rule, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but if it says if a player is wearing otherwise legal equipment in an illegal manner, the player shall be replaced for at least one down, unless halftime intermission or overtime intermission occurs. So the only way so the answer to this is false. They cannot buy their way him back into the game with a timeout. Okay, question number 2. As time is running down in the second period, A is in a hurry-up offense. After a penalty, A56 snaps the ball before the ready-for-play whistle is blown. Penalize Team A for delay of game. Now, we know from last year's change that we've gone to a 40-second clock, and the ball is ready for play when the umpire places the ball on the ground. There are several exceptions to that, and this is one of them. After the administration of a penalty, the referee must blow his whistle to signal the ball is ready for play. The rules references that he's got here are kind of obscure. 357I just talks about the official's ability to call a timeout. 361B is the ball is ready for play when the ball has been placed for a down and the referee marks the ball ready for play after giving the ready for play signal. Okay. Still doesn't talk about a delay of game, right? That actually is in 362. So, in 362D, action or inaction which prevents promptness in putting the ball in play is delay of game. This includes snapping or free kicking the ball before it is marked ready for play. So, this is indeed a penalty. You want to try to avoid this penalty by reminding the center and the quarterback to wait for the referee's whistle. Especially if you're the referee, the umpire can do it as well. But remind them, wait for the whistle, wait for the whistle. We don't want to admit it. You know, this is a bad-looking foul, and we don't really want to call it. But if it happens, get them for delay of game. All right, question number 3. K 4th and 5 at the R26. K6 attempts a field goal. R42 partially blocks the kick behind the line. K24 recovers the kick at the R19. Is it K's ball, 1st and 10 at the R19, or is it R's ball, 1st and 10 at the R19? So the question is really asking, is the touching by R behind the line of scrimmage, does that constitute the type of touching that would allow K to recover the ball and retain possession? Okay, so the first rule reference is 422F, and 4222 deals with the ball becoming dead and the down is ended. 422F, when the kickers catch or recover any free kick, which we don't, this is not a free kick, this is a scrimmage kick, anywhere, and when the kickers catch or recover a scrimmage kick beyond the neutral zone, and when the kickers are the first, i.e. before any touching by the receivers, to touch a scrimmage kick after it has come to rest beyond the neutral zone between the goal lines. So the ball is dead at this point. And that's one of the reasons that R can't advance a kick. Okay, once they recover it, I'm sorry, not R, K. K can't advance a muffed or touched scrimmage kick. The other rule reference is 624, which is right here. Any K player may catch or recover a scrimmage kick which is beyond the neutral zone, which we have here, or the extended neutral zone, provided such kick has been touched by a receiver, we have a touch, right, who was clearly beyond the neutral zone at the time of the touching. So there's the rub. The touching occurred behind the neutral zone, not beyond. Such touching is ignored if it's caused by K pushing or blocking R into contact with the ball, or it is caused by K legally batting or muffing the ball into R. Such catch or recovery by K beyond the neutral zone causes the ball to become dead, and we just saw that. So even though R touched it and K recovered it, R's touching was behind the neutral zone, so K does not have a right to this ball, or they don't. I mean, it's not their ball. So the correct answer here is R, 1st and 10 at the spot of K's first touching. That's letter B. Question number 4. A, 2nd and 8 at the A32. A15 runs off tackle. B75 tackles A15 at the A34 with a hard hit that causes A15's helmet to pop off, and A15 fumbles. B51 recovers the fumble at the A35. It is B's ball, 1st and 10. So the rule reference here is 422K. We know that 422 is the ball becomes dead when. And if we go down to K, when the helmet comes completely off the runner. So this is false. This is going to be, we're going to kill the play as soon as the helmet comes off the runner. Now the runner's the only one that we do this with, right? If it comes off any player, any other player on the field besides the runner, play continues. But in the case of a runner, when that helmet comes off, play's dead. Anything that happens after that, including the fumble, doesn't happen because it's dead ball. So the answer to number 4 is false. Okay, question number 5. K, 4th and 9 at the K35. The clock is stopped after an incomplete pass. K16 punts the ball from the K26. R30 signals for a fair catch but muffs the ball. An official blows an inadvertent whistle while the ball is loose. When the down is replayed, the clock starts on the snap because is after a kick down. All right, so this is the clock stopping and starting, when to do it, is covered in 342, and I'm sorry, 3-4, and this is always kind of hard to get your head around. So basically, they have when a game clock will start for a period, when the game clock will start on the ready for play, and then down here when the game clock will start with the snap. And you can see there's not a whole lot of places, the reasons that it starts on the snap, but they happen all the time. Ball goes out of bounds. B or R is awarded a new series. That means we have a change of possession, right? Either team is awarded a new series following a legal kick. And that's what the question writer is referring to in this question. The ball becomes dead behind the goal line. That's a touchback. A legal or illegal forward pass is incomplete. Okay, so it's a forward pass, incomplete. We stop the clock, right? whether it's a legal forward pass from behind the line of scrimmage or an illegal one from beyond the line of scrimmage. A period ends, a team attempts to consume time illegally, the penalty for delay of game foul is accepted. That's an important one to remember. If you call delay of game, you're not going to start the clock until the snap. Okay, you don't want to give them more time to eat up the clock. Okay, so it looks like we should have, the clock should start on the snap based on 3-4-3 here. But if we go back to 3-4-2, the game clock shall start with the ready for play signal on a down beginning with a snap if the game clock was stopped for any reason other than specified in 2-4-3. And that's why I went through 2-4-3 first, okay? And so it starts for on the ready for play for an official's timeout, okay? Because the ball became dead following any foul, provided there had been no charged timeout during the dead ball interval. The down is not an extension of a period or try, and the action which caused the down to end did not also cause the game clock to be stopped. And lastly, because of an inadvertent whistle, unless B or R is in possession at the time of the play of the inadvertent whistle during a running play and chooses to accept the result of the play. So B or R is not in possession when that official blew the whistle. So the game, the clock is going to start on the ready for play. And so this is false. And, get to know this section of the rules. There's more rules regarding inadvertent whistles. One that's kind of odd is that if an inadvertent whistle was sounded during a kick, and I believe it's free kick or scrimmage kick, don't quote me on that because I'm just going from memory, but there's no choice for the team. God. Anyway, there's no choice. The ball has to be re-kicked. All right. I think I've rambled on long enough. Let's go on to question number 6. Okay, question number 6. After play number 7 above, I have no idea what that refers to. This is question number 6, but it doesn't really matter. The gist of this question remains. The B coach requests a coach-referee conference regarding misapplication of a rule. After the conference, there is no change to the ruling, and Team B had no timeouts remaining. A, Team B is penalized for delay of game, or there is no penalty because the ruling is not changed. Now, refers to 3-5-11, which is right here, which is quite long, but basically says that a player or head coach can request a conference with the referee regarding the misapplication of a rule, and that it has to happen prior to the beginning of the next play. After the conference, if the ruling is reversed, then there is no charge timeout to the team that requested the conference. If there is no change, then they're charged a timeout. If they don't have any timeouts, if we go down to 362C, action or inaction which prevents promptness in putting the ball in play is a delay of game. This includes a coach-referee conference after all permissible charge timeouts for the coach's team have been used, and during which the referee is requested to reconsider the application of a rule and no change of the ruling results. It's pretty clear, right? So this is a delay of game. It's letter A. All right. Let's move on. Okay, question number 7. A trails by 1 point. A requests the ball be placed on the left hash mark so they can try for 2 points. After they're ready for play, A79 commits a false start. A then requests the ball be placed in the center of the field so they can kick to tie the game. A, the request is granted, or B, the request is denied. This is a very important rule. This gets screwed up a lot by us, you guys. So if we look at 436, before the ready for play signal, A may designate the spot for which the ball is put in play anywhere between the hash marks. And these are the situations: for a try, for a kickoff, following a safety, following a fair catch, following an awarded fair catch, following a touchback, and for the start of each series using an overtime procedure. Guys, commit this to memory, okay? It's really not that hard. When if you think about it, these all make sense, okay? The only one that is a little tough is the fair catch one, because you'd think you'd put the ball where the guy caught, made the fair catch. But we do allow the ball to be moved anywhere along between the hash marks after a fair catch. And the same is true for a touchback. Don't forget that, especially if you're doing 3-man or youth ball. This can be important. And so 437 tells us when a team may designate the spot along the proper yard line from which the ball is to be put in play. In other words, if one of these situations applies, it shall have the same privilege if the down is to be replayed or a dead ball foul occurs. And that's what we have right here. We have a dead ball foul. So A's request to have the ball moved to the center of the field should be granted. The answer is A. Okay, question number 8. A 2nd and 8 at the B15. A is leading 26-20 with 1 minute remaining in the game. B75 encroaches. A71 retaliates and is called for unsportsmanlike conduct. And he's going to get yelled at by his coach. The penalties are administered in the order of occurrence, making it 2nd and 18 at the B25. A chooses not to have the clock start on the snap. Then B is given the choice of starting the clock on the snap. So, and then the rule reference is actually a casebook reference, 347C. If we go over to 347, I hope you guys remember this from a different test. I can't remember which one it was. There was a question whether there was a grounding of the ball to save time, and another foul. Anyway, it asked if the coach had the option of starting it on the ready for play, and that's not an option. It's simply whether they want to start it on the snap or not. So when a penalty is accepted with less than 2 minutes remaining in either half, the offended team will have the option to start the game clock on the snap. Okay, just the snap. That's it. That's their choice. And if we come down to 347C, which is the one that they reference here, it's the exact same. It's the exact same situation, and indeed, both teams are given the option of starting on the snap, and it's in the order of the occurrence of the fouls. So this is true. Okay, A 2nd and 6 from the A42. A16 receives the snap and hands the ball to A32, who runs wide right. Guard A66 pulls and blocks B78 in the back while the ball is still in the zone. Legal only if the players were in the zone at the snap and the contact occurred in the free blocking zone. And the rule reference is 217-3. Blocking in the back is permitted in the free blocking zone when the following conditions are met. by offensive linemen who are on the line of scrimmage and in the zone at the snap. So we know this is an offensive lineman. It's A66. Against defensive players who are in the zone at the snap. And the contact is in the zone. So the question is legal only if the players were in the zone at the snap and the contact occurred in the free blocking zone. That's verbatim what the rule says, so this is true. Okay, question number 10. A 3rd and 4 in the A28. A40 runs 10 yards to the A38 for a first down. This is an official's timeout, and the play clock will be set at 25 seconds and start on the ready for play signal. And the rule reference is 3-6-1A 1E. Okay, which is right here. Right here. 1-6-1A-1E. Right there. Okay, so the play clock and ready for play. The play clock. 25 seconds will be on the play clock and start on the ready for play signal under all these circumstances you see here under A, B, C, D, and E, although there are exceptions. One of those exceptions is 357B. And 357 is right here. An official's timeout occurs during a dead ball when a first down is declared. In other words, the first down, even though it's an official's timeout, it does not fall into this 25-second exception, and it does not start on the ready for play. It will start as soon as the ball is placed by the umpire. So this is false. Okay, question number 11. A 2nd and 12 at the A5. A12 is sacked at the A2, and A53 is flagged for holding in the end zone as time for the third period expires. Ruling: safety. A free kick from the K20 extended and we extend the period. Now, there's several things here. Now, the only rule citation that the test maker gives us is 334B5, which just is the exception to extending the a period for an untimed down. First of all, is this a safety? And the answer is yes. And basically, we will always have a safety when A commits a foul in the end zone, which is enforced from the end zone. So in this case, the quarterback sacked at the A2, right? That would normally be the enforcement spot, but the offensive blocker committed holding in the end zone. So now that becomes the enforcement spot, right? Because of the all but one principle, and any foul that is enforced from the end zone is a safety. Okay, that's number one. Number two, a free kick from the K20. Yes, anytime we have a safety, we kick from the 20 unless there's some foul that occurs that moves the ball. And we extend the period. And extending the period is actually defined in a 3-3-3. A period shall be extended by an untimed down if one of the following occurred during a down in which time expires. And this is important to remember. This happens, believe it or not, and a lot of times we forget about this extension. It's important. You can save a crew on this one. So this is when we extend the period for an untimed down. There was a foul by either team and the penalty is accepted, except for those fouls listed in 3-4B. So we have a penalty and it is accepted. So it sounds like we should have an untimed down. There was a double foul. Now you remember what a double foul is? That's a foul by each team. There was an inadvertent whistle. We are never going to have those, so we don't have to worry about that. If a touchdown was scored, the try is attempted unless the touchdown is scored during the last play of a fourth down, and the points would not affect the outcome. Forget about that one. Don't forget about that. That last part, the only time we wouldn't have a try is if, it was the last play of the game and the try is not going to affect the outcome of the game. Otherwise, we're always going to have the try from the same end of the field as the touchdown was scored, and then we're going to switch sides and have the kickoff going the other way. So we have to go back to A here, and it says there was a foul by either team, and the penalty is accepted, except for those fouls in 4B. You'll notice that's the rule reference, so yeah, I'm guessing this might be the case. 3-3. Oh, did I go by it? There it is. A period shall not be extended by an untimed down if one of the following occurred during a down in which time expired. When the defense fouls during a successful try or field goal, and the offended team accepts the results of the play and with the enforcement of the penalty from the succeeding spot. So if they are going to accept the penalty on the kickoff, we go ahead and switch sides. Okay. There was a foul by either team, and the penalty is accepted for unsportsmanlike contact, non-player fouls, fouls that specify a loss of down, fouls that are enforced on a subsequent kickoff, and fouls for which enforcement by rule results in a safety. And that's the case that we have here. So we do not extend the period. The answer to this question is false. Okay, question number 12. A 2nd and 8 at the B37. A26 runs to the B30 where he fumbles. B24 picks up the ball and is at the B32 when an official blows the whistle. Because of the inadvertent whistle, the clock starts on the ready for play. So, getting to know when to start the ball on the ready for play can be tough, but you can simplify it by knowing all the situations that the clock starts on the snap. And these are all those situations. We've talked about this. Ball goes out of bounds, right? Starts on the snap. We have a new series for the other team for B. So we probably have a punt and anyway, there's a change of possession. Ball becomes dead behind the goal line. We have a legal or illegal forward pass incomplete, so on. We know all these, okay? So everything else, the ball starts on the ready. So 3-4-2 says the game clock shall start with the ready for play on a down beginning with a snap if the game clock was stopped for any reason other than specified in Rule 343 or an untimed down. Now, we just looked at 343. That's what it's talking about. So, for an official's timeout, that means we called the timeout, right? We had illegal equipment, helmet came off. We call timeout. We send the player off. Another player comes on, and we get the clock going right then. We're not waiting for the snap. Okay, that's our timeout. Other than when B is awarded a new series or either team is awarded a new series following an illegal kick. Okay, that's normal. I mean, because the ball has become dead following any foul provided, there has been no charge time out during the dead ball interval. So again, we have a foul, we administer the foul, and then we wind the clock. Okay? The down is not an extension of a period or try. So this is the untimed down. Okay? That one was we're not running a clock, so we're going to let it, it's It's just going to start on the snap even though we're not running a clock. The action which caused the down to end did not also cause the game clock to be stopped. All right. And this last one, because of an inadvertent whistle. Okay, so normally with an inadvertent whistle, we're going to start on the ready. Unless B or R is in possession at the time of the inadvertent whistle during a running play and chooses to accept the result of the play. So that's what we have here. We have B recovering a fumble, and the inadvertent whistle sounds after they've gained possession. Now, the clock is not going to start on the ready for play. It's going to start on the snap for this particular instance. And remember, the ball is dead wherever the player in possession is, or where the ball is, if it's just floating around, when the inadvertent whistle sounded. This is very complicated. It doesn't happen a lot. Don't worry too much about it, but the answer here is false. All right, question 13. This is kind of a weird question. A second and 6 to A24. A26 runs a sweep around the right end, which gains 4 yards. The officials retrieve the ball, and when the umpire places it there down, there are 20 seconds on the play clock. The referee signals the play clock to be reset to 25 seconds. And there were 2 rule references included on this question, but neither deals with the resetting the referee's ability to reset the 40-second clock back to 25 seconds. I'm not sure why that happened, but 361D is a case, and if I can find it, okay, here we go, 361D, and when the ball is dead after a running play that ends in the side zone, the game officials have difficulty getting the ball back to the hash mark. As the play clock nears 25, the umpire places the ball on the ground, and by the time the game officials are ready, the play clock is below 25 when the umpire steps away. Ruling: without stopping the game clock, the referee gives the pump signal to indicate that the play clock should be reset to 25. If the play clock is reset to 25 without any delay, the game clock does not stop. So remember, we got play clock and game clock, right? Only if the play clock operator does not quickly respond to the referee's pump signal does the referee declare a timeout, signal for the play clock to be set at 25, and then signal to start the game and the play clock. Now, we don't have play clock operators here in California yet because we don't have a visible play clock. So it would be the back judge who should be looking at the referee. If he's not, he's in big trouble. And this is a thing that you'd want to work out in pregame. That since the back judge is keeping track of the play clock, he might signal with maybe a tap on the wrist or something like that to the referee, hey, we're getting close to 25, or we're at 25, and the referee simply would give a flat palm pump up in the air, and that would reset the clock to 25 seconds. So, after all that, the answer to this question is true. Okay, question number 14. K 4th and 10 at the K20. K1 is flagged for kick-catching interference, which causes R2 to muff the kick. R3 recovers at the K45, and time for the first quarter expires during the down. The period will be extended for an untimed down under any circumstances. Now, we've been through this rule, this 3-3A rule, several times already. a period shall be extended for an untimed down if one of the following during a down in which occurs during a down in which time expires. There was a foul by either team and the penalty is accepted, except those fouls in 334B. KCI is not in 334B, so I'm not going to go through that. There was a double foul. There was an inadvertent whistle, and if a touchdown was scored. Okay, so none of those things happened, but you notice the test maker states the period shall be extended for an untimed down during any circumstance. And the one circumstance that we could have would be that the penalty was not accepted. And you notice he does not specify where the KCI occurred. So it may be to ours advantage to take the ball at the K45 rather than where the penalty would leave them. Just for your edification, the KCI in this situation, it would be ruled an awarded fair catch wherever the KCI occurred, and then 15 yards would be added from that point. So if that was further down the field than the K45, then likely R would decline the penalty and we would not extend the down. So kind of a tricky question, but in absolute terms, it is false. Okay, question number 15. K 4th and 4 from the K20. Immediately after the snap, K62 holds R73. K10 kicks the ball and it is caught by R24. He returns it to the R45. R accepts the penalty but has the penalty enforced from the previous spot. The clock will start on the snap because of the kick. Now, this is not the original wording of this question. The original wording went like this. K 4th and 4 at the K20 immediately after the snap. K62 holds R73. K10 kicks the ball. Caught by R24. He returns it to the R45. R accepts the penalty. The clock will start on the snap because of the kick. And this question is keyed false. I added the accepts the penalty but has the penalty enforced from the previous spot because that is the only way I could think of that we wouldn't have the ball start on the snap. And I'm not sure where the test maker was going with this, if he was just trying to enforce the idea that just because we had a kick, we don't necessarily start on the snap. But you can see here in 343 that if B or R is awarded a new series, which we have here, or either team is awarded a new series following a legal kick, which we have here, then the ball starts on the snap. And he even includes the 10-4-2 exclusion, which allows the accepted penalty to be added to the succeeding spot. I just didn't want to confuse you guys, so I added that extra bit. So in this case, it's false because we're going to take the ball back to the previous spot and re-kick. And in that case, the clock was started on the ready. All right. I hope that makes sense. Moving on. Okay, question number 16. A 2nd and 10 at the B14. A10 throws a forward pass towards A82. B22 steps in front and intercepts the pass at the B2. He retreats into the end zone and simulates taking a knee. After 2 seconds, he advances to the B26 where he is tackled. Ruling, safety. And the rule reference is 422. So this is another trick question. tricky question. I'll put it that way. We know the ball becomes dead and the down is ended when a runner goes out of bounds, right? Is held so his forward progress is stopped, or allows any part of his person other than hand or foot to touch the ground. And there's an exception called the momentum exception, which doesn't apply here, where if B22's momentum had carried him into the end zone and he was downed in the end zone, it would not be a safety. He'd get the ball at the 2-yard line, or B would get the ball at the 2-yard line. The key here is the word simulate taking a knee. In other words, he didn't actually take a knee, so he's not down. And it's trickery, and the test maker obviously is trying to make you think of these oddball situations. But so this isn't a safety. It would be B's ball at the where did he get to? The 26. All right, moving on. Question 17. K 4th and 7 at the K32. K8 punts the ball and it's partially blocked by R77. R22 signals for a fair catch and muffs it at the K45. R33 recovers it at the K40. The ball is dead when recovered. And if we go to Rule 422, there's a whole litany of the ball becomes dead when. And if we go all the way down here to G, following a valid or invalid fair catch signal given by R, when a scrimmage kick or free kick is caught or recovered by any R player beyond, in, or behind the neutral zone. So, any fair catch signal, as soon as R recovers it, even if it's not the guy that gave the fair catch signal, the ball is dead. So this answer is true. Okay, question 18. A 2nd and 10 at the A25. A11 enters the field to replace A10, who was injured on the first down play. He has a play card attached to his belt. Legal or illegal? Now, if any of you with more than 1 year experience get this wrong, bad on you. We don't allow play cards anywhere but on the wrist. And that, if you notice right here, this covers illegal equipment. This is 1-5-3, and there's a lot of it. You guys should read all this, make sure you know it. But come all the way down to 153 C8, and play cards not worn on the wrist or arm. Okay, so this is not legal. You're not going to let him on the field with this play card on his belt. You can tell him that can't be on your belt, and if he can rip it off real quick and throw it to the sideline, fine, let him come in. But if he can't get it off the belt, somebody else has got to come in for him. All right, moving on. All right, question 19. K 4th and 8 at the K32. K18 punts the ball. R26 signals for a fair catch but muffs the kick. R42 recovers the kick at the R30. The game clock starts on the snap, but the play clock, set at 25 seconds, starts on the ready. So the rule reference is 3-6-1A, parentheses 1F. So this is 3-6-1A, play clock. 25 seconds will be on the play clock and start on the ready for play signal when following a legal kick when either team is awarded a new series. Okay, so that's the play clock. And then if you remember 3-4-2, I think it is. No, maybe it's 3-4-3. Oh, here we go. 3-4-3. The game clock shall start with the snap. Okay, so that's in this question as well. When either team is awarded a new series following a legal kick. So that's the situation there. So yeah, we're going to start the game clock on the snap, but the play clock starts on the ready. All right? So that question is true. Okay, hold on to your hats, boys and girls. He gave us a doozy for the last one. This is a rule change, by the way. A 2nd and 10 at the A44, trailing by 2 points, Team B is granted its last timeout with 43 seconds remaining in the game. A12 takes the snap and runs around for a few seconds and takes a knee. The officials see that B72 is injured and stops the clock. After B72 is replaced, the play clock is set to 25 seconds and the game clock is started. Team A must snap the ball. And that rule that you see there, that's all one rule. It's not a bunch of rules. That's one rule. And it's right here. Actually, I have it in... Why do I have this thing split? Remove split. Okay. So this is the play clock and ready for play and delay. Play clock. 25 seconds will be set on the play clock and on the ready for play signal. Prior to a try, following the score, start a period or overtime series, you see all these. Following an official's timeout, as in 357 or 3510. So 357 deals with equipment problems, and 3510 deals with injuries generally. I'll show you them in just a minute. There are, however, exceptions to 357 B, E, and 3510. Okay, so 357E says an official's timeout occurs during a dead ball for a player in need of equipment repair. Okay, so that's an exclusion to that 25-second rule. And then, what is it? What was the other one? Stay with me, guys. I can't do this. 361. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Oh my God. Okay, here it is. 3-5-10. Okay, here's another official's timeout. And so if we have an apparently injured player, any player exhibits signs or symptoms of concussion, player who's bleeding, those are all exceptions to this 25-second rule. So we are going to set the play clock to 40 seconds, not 25, if one of those four things happens. Okay? So the answer to this question is false. Team A does not have to snap the ball. I know that's really confusing, and it took me, I don't know, over a half an hour to going through this back and forth to try to figure out what the heck they were talking about. They couldn't have written this more in a more confusing way. But bottom line is, if one of those four things happens, put 40 seconds on the play clock. Okay. All right, that's it for this test. I thought this was going to be the easiest one, and it was the hardest one. If you have any questions, don't call me. No, I'm kidding. If you have any questions, feel free to call. All right, this is Mark Andrews signing off.